Hi, I am Hamza Iqbal and welcome back to my YouTube channel with a new scary story. So let's start the story without wasting time.
The Majestic Theater had been closed for decades, its once grand halls left to decay in silence. Rumors swirled in the town about why it shut down, a tragedy that claimed lives during its final performance. Some spoke of a fire, others of a mysterious disappearance. When Alex, an aspiring filmmaker, heard about the haunted theater, he saw it as the perfect opportunity for his next project. With his camera in hand, he convinced his best friends, Jess and Marcus, to explore the building with him. They arrived just as the sun set, the silhouette of the theater looming like a specter against the twilight sky. Its windows were shattered, and its marquee hung crookedly, its letters faded and barely legible. "I can't believe we're actually doing this," Jess said, her voice shaking slightly. "This is going to be epic," Alex replied, grinning. "Just think about the footage we'll get." But as they pushed open the heavy, creaking doors, a cold gust of air greeted them, carrying with it the faint scent of smoke and something rotten. Inside, the theater was a shadow of its former self. The grand chandeliers were coated in cobwebs, the once plush red seats torn and faded. Their flashlights illuminated the stage, where a tattered curtain hung limp. Alex began filming, narrating as they explored. "This is the Majestic Theater, closed since the 1970s after a tragic accident. They say the lead actress disappeared during a live performance, and her ghost still haunts these halls." Jess shivered. "Why does it feel like we're being watched?" Marcus laughed nervously, probably just the rats. But as they moved deeper into the building, the atmosphere grew heavier. Their footsteps echoed unnaturally, and every creak of the floorboards seemed amplified. In the backstage area, they found an old dressing room. A shattered mirror hung on the wall, and scattered across the vanity were remnants of makeup and a faded playbill. "The final act," Jess read aloud from the playbill. "Weird name for a show." "That's the one," Alex said. "The performance where the lead actress disappeared. People say she was taken by the ghost of the theater." As he spoke, the mirror behind him flickered, not with light, but with movement. A shadow passed across its surface, though nothing stood in the room. They continued to explore, but the strange occurrences became harder to ignore. The temperature dropped sharply, and their flashlights flickered. Then, they heard a faint melody, like a music box, drifting from the stage. "Did you hear that?" Jess whispered. Alex nodded, his camera trembling in his hands. "Let's check it out." They made their way to the stage, where the sound grew louder. It was hauntingly beautiful, yet deeply unsettling. On the stage was an old grand piano, its surface covered in dust. But as they approached, they saw that one key was pressed down, as if an invisible hand had played it. "Okay, I'm officially freaked out," Marcus said, backing away. Before they could leave, the stage lights flickered on, casting an eerie glow over the empty theater. And then they saw her. A figure stood at the center of the stage, her pale dress flowing like smoke. Her face was hidden beneath a veil, but her presence radiated sorrow and menace. "Who's there?" Alex called out, his voice breaking. The figure raised her head, and though her face remained obscured, a low, mournful voice filled the air. "Why have you come?" Paralyzed with fear, the trio watched as the ghost slowly stepped forward. Her movements were graceful yet unnatural, as if she were gliding rather than walking. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "This place is cursed, just like me." Jess found her voice. Who are you?" The ghost hesitated, her veil rippling as though caught in an invisible breeze. "I was once the star of this theater, but jealousy and betrayal ended my life. They trapped me here, and now I cannot leave." As she spoke, the theater seemed to come alive. Shadows moved along the walls, and faint whispers filled the air. Alex's camera malfunctioned, its screen glitching as he tried to capture the ghost. "We didn't mean to disturb you," Marcus stammered. "We'll leave." The ghost tilted her head, her voice growing colder. "It's too late. You've awakened the others." At the moment, the whispers grew into a deafening roar, and ghostly figures began to materialize in the seats of the theater. Their faces were blurred, their eyes empty, but their anger was palpable. Panic set in as the trio ran toward the exit, but the theater wouldn't let them go. Doors slammed shut, and the shadows seemed to pull them back. The ghost appeared again, this time at the entrance, blocking their path. "You cannot leave until you've played your part." What does that mean?" Alex shouted. She gestured toward the stage. "Perform just as I did." or face their wrath. Realizing they had no choice, the group climbed onto the stage. As they did, the ghostly audience grew silent, their empty eyes fixed on the trio. "What do we do?" Jess whispered. Alex stepped forward, his voice trembling as he began to narrate their exploration of the theater. Marcus and Jess followed suit, recounting their fears and experiences. The ghost watched, her veil lifting slightly to reveal hollow, tear-streaked eyes. "Good. Now, Bo." They did as she asked, bowing deeply. For a moment, silence filled the theater. Then, one by one, the ghostly audience disappeared, their whispers fading into nothingness. When they looked up, the ghost was gone, and the theater was dark once more. Closing scene. The cursed lives on the trio stumbled out of the theater, shaken but alive. Alex clutched his camera, relieved to find it still recording. As they reviewed the footage, their relief turned to horror. In every frame, the ghost was there, standing just behind them, her hollow eyes locked on the lens. And at the very end of the tape, her voice whispered once more, "The show must go on."